Sensory reception. The detection of a stimulus by sensory cells. Sensory receptors. Sensory cells and organs, as well as the structures within sensory cells that respond to specific stimuli. Sensory transduction. The conversion of a physically or chemical stimulus to a change in the membrane potential of a sensory receptor. Receptor potential. The change in membrane potential. Transmission. Transducing the energy in a stimulus into a receptor potential initiates this transmission of action potentials to the CNS. Perception. Constructions formed in the brain and do not exist outside, e.g. colors, smells, sounds, and tastes. Amplification. The strengthening of stimulus energy during transduction. Sensory adaptation. Receptors that undergo a decrease in responsiveness, otherwise, we would feel every beat of our heart and every bit of clothing on our body. Mechanoreceptors. Sense physical deformation caused by forms of mechanical energy such as pressure, touch, stretch, motion, and sound. Chemoreceptors include both general receptors, those that transmit information about solute concentration, and specific receptors, those that respond to individual kinds of molecules. Electromagnetic receptors detect various forms of electromagnetic energy, such as visible light, electricity, and magnetism. Thermoreceptors detect heat and cold, located in the skin and in the anterior hypothalamus. Thermoreceptor cells send information to the body's thermostat, located in the posterior hypothalamus. Nociceptors detect stimuli that reflect noxious conditions, also called pain receptors. Statocysts. Sensory organs that sense gravity and maintain equilibrium. Statoliths. Grains of sand or other dense granules in statocysts. Round window. Dampening of sound waves resets the apparatus for the next vibrations to arrive. Utricle and saccule. Situated in a vestibule behind the oval window, it allows us to perceive position with respect to gravity or linear movement. Lateral line system contains mechanoreceptors that detect low-frequency waves by a mechanism similar to that of the mammalia interior, found in most fishes and aquatic amphibians. Gustation. The perception of taste. Olfaction. The perception of smell. Tastants. Chemicals that are present in a solution that are detected for taste. Odorants. Chemicals that are carried in the air and are detected by the nose. Taste buds. Scattered in several areas of the tongue and mouth are receptor cells for taste. In mammals, they are modified epithelial cells. Photoreceptors. Light-sensitive cells. Compound eyes. Found in insects and crustaceans, consists of several thousand light detectors called ommatidia. Ommatidia. Facets of the eye, each has its own light-focusing lens, each one detects light from a tiny portion of the visual field, found in insects and crustaceans, in compound eyes. Single lens eyes. Found in invertebrates such as jellies and polychaees, as well as spiders and many molluscs. It works like a camera. There is a pupil where light enters, with an iris, and photoreceptors to receive the light. Pupil. A small opening in an eye that is the site where light enters. Iris. An object in an eye that contracts or expands to let in more or less light, functions a lot like a camera's adjustable aperture. Sclera. A tough white outer layer of connective tissue on an eye. Choroid. A thin, pigmented inner layer in an eye right behind the sclera. Cornea. The transparent part of the cornea where light enters. Retina. It is located just inside the choroid. The retina forms the innermost layer of the eye and contains neurons and photoreceptors. Lens and ciliary body. Divide the eye into two cavities, the anterior cavity and a posterior cavity. Aqueous humor. Provided by the ciliary body, it fills the anterior, front cavity. If not functioning properly, can result in glaucoma. Vitreous humor. Fills the posterior cavity of the eye. It constitutes most of the volume in an eye. Rods and cones. A type photoreceptor found in the human retina. It is sensitive to light, but can't distinguish between colors. They enable us to see at night, but only in black and white. Cones. A type of photoreceptor found in the human retina. It provides color vision, but are less sensitive. There are three types of cones for optimal response: red, green, or blue light. Fovea. The center of the visual field has no rods, but a high density of cones, about 150,000 cones per square millimeter. Retinal. A light-absorbing molecule in each rod or cone. Rhodopsin. Retinal binds to this membrane protein. It is present in rods when combined with retinal makes up the visual pigment rhodopsin. Rhodopsin. Combination of retinal and opsin, it changes to a C-eyes to a trans arrangement, resulting in sending a signal. Bipolar cells. Both rods and cones form synapses with these neurons. Ganglion cells. Synapse with bipolar cells and transmit action potential to the brain via axons in the optic nerve. Horizontal cells and amacrine. Funcyton in neural pathways that integrate information before it is sent to the brain. Lateral inhibition. Makes light spots appear lighter and dark spots appear darker. It sharpens and enhances contrast in an image. Optic chiasm. Place where the two optic nerves meet near the center of the base of the cerebral cortex. Lateral geniculate nuclei. Where most ganglion cell axons lead to, they lead to the primary visual cortex. Primary visual cortex. It is located in the cerebrum. Skeletal muscle. Is attached to bones and is responsible for their movement. Myofibrous. Bundles of longitudinal cells arranged in a muscle fiber. Thin filaments. Consist of 2 strands of actin and 2 strands of a regulatory protein. Thick filaments. They are staggered arrays of myosin molecules. Striated muscle. Another name for skeletal muscle because the regular arrangement of the filaments creates a pattern of light and dark bands. Sarcomere. The basic contractile unit of the muscle. Sliding filament model. Muscle contraction. Neither the thin nor the thick filaments change in length when the arcomer shortens. Rather, the filaments slide past each other longitudinally, increasing the overlap of the thin and thick filaments. Tropomyosin, a regulatory protein that is bound to actin strands of thin filaments. Troponin complex, a set of regulatory proteins. It is bound to actin strands of thin filaments. Transverse tubules, infloatings of the plasma membrane where action potentials spread deep into the interior. Sarcoplasmic reticulum, a specialized endoplasmic reticulum where the actin potential continues after the transverse tubules. The action potential opens circa 2 channels, allowing circa 2 stored in the interior of the senior to enter the cytosol. Recruitment. Tension of a muscle develops by more and more motor neurons controlling the muscle are activated. Tendinous. When a muscle fiber cannot relax at all between contraction, results in one smooth contraction. Should not be confused with the disease of the same name. Myoglobin. A brownish-red pigment binds oxygen more tightly than does hemoglobin, so it can effectively extract oxygen from the blood. Fast-twitch fibers. Muscle fibers that contract speedily. They are used for brief, rapid, powerful contractions. Slow-twitch fibers. Muscle fibers that contract slower than fast-twitch fibers. They are found in muscles that maintain posture and for endurance. A slow fiber has less sarcoplasmic reticulum and pumps Ca more slowly than a fast fiber. Cardia muscle. Found only in the heart, it is striated. They have ion channels in their plasma membrane that cause rhythmic depolarizations, triggering action potential loss without input from the nervous system. Intercalated discs. Specialized regions where plasma membranes of adjacent cardiac muscle cells interlock, gap junctions, provide direct electrical coupling between the cells. Smooth muscle. Found mainly in the walls of hollow organs, such as blood vessels and organs of the digestive tract. They lack striations, they are flexible. Hydrostatic skeleton. Consists of fluid held under pressure in a closed body compartment. This is the main type of skeleton in a closed body compartment. Peristalsis. A type of movement produced by rhythmic waves of muscle contractions passing from front to back. Exoskeleton. A hard encasement deposited on an animal's surface. Chitin. A polysaccharide similar to cellulose. Fibers of chitin are embedded in a protein matrix, forming a composite material that combines strength and flexibility. Endoskeleton consists of hard supporting elements, such as bones buried within the soft tissues of an animal. Locomotion, active travel from place to place.